Taking a look back at January 6, 2021, and why it's still relevant with our special guest and former J6er, Edward. Cut to the intro.
Oh, mine.
Yes,
Never mind.
Exactly.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ellie.
And I'm Tara.
And make sure to check out all of our social media pages at 180 Shift, as well as our website at 180shift.org.
And drink lots of boba.
Yes, as we are going to today.
Yes.
How was your week, Tara, since we last talked?
Oh my goodness, so much. Taking care of my kids, I'm homeschooling them, cleaning the house for my husband.
Wow.
And no, I'm not a misogynist. Well, maybe just a little bit. But today we have such a special guest. But wait a minute. What was your week like, Ellie, other than spilling boba everywhere? What about you, Edward?
Oh my goodness.
You made me. I want to ask you a question because, is it more fulfilling to be a trad wife, like you said, or, someone who would be pursuing your career? Like, because you seem like you're a happy person in general.
It's true.
So it's obviously not making you depressed.
Well, I will say, before we jump in, I will say that I have a lot of friends come to me who are my age and even older who ask me, like, okay, how do I get what you have?
Right.
I have a lot of friends like that. Like, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that, and what are you doing? And I always just point to the Bible.
Yeah, there you go. It's a great way.
It's very simple.
Exactly.
Making it too complicated with your drama.
Yeah.
I cleaned up my boba mess, everyone. I'm so sorry. Like, I literally just dropped it all over me. But I've been doing good.
Such a cute shirt, too.
I know.
That's the problem with the huge straws. It's just not manageable, the stream.
Yes. Well, you know what? I got my last statistics test, or this previous one for statistics has been good. We got an A on that. Yay.
Oh,
Yay.
Like high school statistic or college?
No, college.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so that went well. I only have one final statistics test before I am done. And I'm so happy. So that's next week. But everything's been pretty good.
Yeah, Ellie's in college.
What college?
Yeah, cool.
I'm going to a community college called, actually I won't say it on the air because I don't want people to follow me, but I'm at a community college. Yeah.
I went to Pierce, so I also went to a community college. So. Okay.
There you go.
That's not where Ellie goes.
Not where I go at all.
Yeah, no.
No, there's
GCC.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great school. I took a few classes there.
I was gonna go there, but I was like, no, I would rather go to Pierce. And that's where I got involved into politics. Was Young Americans for Liberty.
Oh, at Pierce, they have actually that there.
Yeah, that's how I met Nathan Fatale.
Wow, that's so interesting.
And it was I had an ex that had joined initially, and then I joined because of that, and then she ended up being she went to UCSD, and then somehow ended up being a liberal, which is really weird because you usually never see that someone go from we were libertarian, but to go to the left like that. But sometimes I guess that brainwashing works, like in universities.
Well, so glad for you to have you on today. No. Yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself so people know who you are? But yeah.
Oh yeah, my name's Edward Badalian. I'm a J6er. Obviously, it doesn't define me. I've been a political activist for years, and among other things. And so now that I'm out of prison, I did a year in prison, 5 different jails, for essentially being inside the building for 4 minutes. That was objectively the worst you could say that you say I did was trespass for 4 minutes and then leave when I was ordered to. So I didn't even that's not even trespassing. But anyway, so I did. I was sentenced to 51 months plus other stuff like probation and 100 hours community service and $2,000 fine. Even though I actually defended the building. So if you look at the video of me, the InfoWars interview I did on January 7th, it's me talking and then talking about the video of me disarming this guy who was breaking the window. And the crowd was chanting Antifa at him, like, because we saw them breaking the windows and agitating with the police and stuff, and we were like, these people are not with us, like, because the Trump crowd arrived, and we came like with this energy of like protesting and happy kind of, and we were like excited, and no one was really angry, you know. And then we arrived and we saw like there was these groups that were armed, which was strange because we were just at Trump's speech, and they had Secret Service, so you couldn't go there armed. Nobody was armed at Trump's speech. So all the people that came from Trump's speech where I was, none of us were armed. So it was very strange that these people had weapons. Like, why? How? They must have not have been at Trump's speech. So why are they here? Mm-hmm. And so it turns out, and it turns out, so I disarmed a guy. His little group of guys attacked me. I tried to de-escalate with them. And these guys never get arrested.
How did they attack you?
So I grabbed the guy's hitting the window with a billy club, and I grabbed him by his hand and is like kind of choking him, and like, you know, grabbing him away from the window, and he had a backup. There was like 4 or 5 backup guys because he had already replaced a different guy that other people had taken away. Who I call Sledgehammer guy, who I believe his name is John Barry. He also was never arrested, but he was using an actual sledgehammer.
Wow.
He got taken out by other people.
Mm-hmm.
I took out Billy Club guy. And I was jumped by his little group there. So, and they had weapons, and I didn't. So I had already been jumped by Antifa before in Beverly Hills in October of 2020. So I didn't want to get jumped again.
Right.
It had just happened. So I didn't fight with them. But in hindsight, I should have. But so I walked away, and then when I came back, like half an hour later, they had already broken through the window. They had like restarted and eventually done it, and then now they were inside breaking the furniture and like handing it out as weapons and stuff. And oh my gosh, Gina was at the window. Gina Bisignano, one of our activists from here in LA, and she had gotten caught up in kind of the rah vibes, and you know, which is fair because the police were assaulting people. Because once these Antifa people had escalated the situation, the police were then like brutalizing everybody, which was the whole point of to do that, the whole setup. But yeah, so real patriots were starting to fight back, and then so I don't blame them for getting like, yeah, let's go. But so she was just at the window. She's like my friend from LA here, but we didn't travel together. And she's saying, you know, here, patriots, come, like, we need more people. And I go up to her, I'm like, hey, Gina, like, those guys inside, those are Antifa. They're not with us. Don't encourage it. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, or whatever. And then my co-defendant, DJ, comes out from the tunnel doing whatever he was doing, allegedly. And I'm talking to him, I'm like, you know, I want to go inside and stop these guys, but like I don't want to jump through the window because that's like illegal, probably. And then at that moment, these gas bombs explode behind us. The police launched like a huge like volley of gas bombs, but they launched it in the middle of the crowd. So we were like stuck between the gas and the window because we were in the front. So I looked back and I saw the gas exploding, and I panicked, the explosion sound, and me and DJ jumped in through the window. And the first thing I tried to do, I was telling people like, let's look for a way out of here. And you can see me on video, like fixing the furniture that people had knocked over, and the government tried to say, "Oh, he was moving the furniture out of the way so the terrorists or whatever could have easier access or something." But it's so obvious in the video. I'm just fixing it. But I'm telling people, let's look for a way out of here. Let's get out of here because, like within I don't know a minute of being in there, somebody told DJ. I think Gina got word from the tunnel, and then she told DJ, and then DJ told all the people in that room. My co-defendant, he's like, you know, somebody just got shot. They just shot a woman, an innocent girl. So we were all thinking, okay, they're going to start killing us now. So I'm like, we need to get out of here. So let's look for a way out of here. And these morons that were in here, at this point, some of these guys, they weren't even like tried to dress as MAGA. Like they were just straight up dressed in black and gray. None have ever been arrested. They broke a door down. And I looked through the door. I'm like, this is not an exit. It was another office. So I left. I went back to the main room. The police officer came to the window finally and was like, hey, we got to go. We got to evacuate. And the whole courtyard was filling up with gas at this point, like different colors of gas exploding everywhere. And so I left immediately, and he helped me down. And I'm like, when he was helping me down, I'm like, I'm sorry, officer. The only reason I jumped in was because of the gas bombs. And the government, of course, never produced that body cam footage or that officer to testify in my favor, that's a Sixth Amendment violation, one of many violations that the government did in my case. But so that was the extent of it. But I wasn't given any credit for like defending the building or trying to do the right thing or de-escalating. I was just demonized as like this basically a leader of the Patriots 45 MAGA gang, which was the name of our Telegram chat. So, which me and DJ had made. So they painted us as these masterminds, as if like we were this neo-Nazi or whatever group from LA. Even though DJ is like dark skinned Mexican, I'm brown. Like just utter nonsense. And we were branded as domestic terrorists officially. So so I found this out later. I didn't even know. So when I was at Lompoc in the prison, I thought I was going to be eligible to go to a camp, which is like the lowest security prison. And then one day the lady's like, "You're not eligible for camp. You're labeled as a domestic terrorist, so you can never go to camp." And I was like, "Oh, so that's the actual thing, like that you can have a label like that?" And she's like, "Yeah, you have that on your record," which is crazy. That's like, we were basically treated like Al Qaeda or something, you know. But yeah, there's all kinds of like. The stories about the raid and the individual prisons and there's just a lot of stuff. Like I've done hours and hours of podcasts and you can never get it all out. Like it's just so. If you guys can please give me like some specific questions. Because I can go on forever.
No. What was it like getting out? What were the getting out and leaving? How was that?
So it was like, so in July of last year. The Supreme Court ruled that the 1512 charge, the obstruction of an official proceeding, was unconstitutional. The government applied it incorrectly. So basically, that charge, which was my main felony.
Right.
So I didn't say my charges. I was charged with conspiracy, which is a felony, to obstruct an official proceeding, felony, and then separately obstruction of justice, which I beat in court, thanks to Gina, because they tried to use her to testify on the stand against me, and then she went on the stand and didn't lie. Like she didn't say what they needed her to say, which was not true. That I told her to delete videos, which I didn't. And so I beat that charge, actually, straight up in court at trial. And then the fourth charge was misdemeanor entering and remaining in a restricted building, which is a really weird charge because if you look up the statute, it's a felony, but then it has like a section that is considered a misdemeanor, but it's federal still. So, I guess there's such thing as a federal misdemeanor, which is really weird. Like usually misdemeanors is like a city state thing. You don't go to federal court for a ticket, So a very bizarre charge for trespassing. So she sentenced me to 51 months. But when the Supreme Court decision came out, they said. The statute that says the obstruction of official proceeding is if you tamper with evidence or witnesses that are going to be used in an official proceeding. And the government, they shot themselves in the foot because in my trial they said, well, Your Honor, we acknowledge that Mr. Badalian didn't attempt to directly tamper with or with witnesses or evidence, but we believe that his mere presence at the Capitol caused the delay, and therefore that constitutes obstruction, which is absurd. And it's funny because Neil Gorsuch, the Supreme Court justice, during those arguments when this case was in the Supreme Court, he asked the prosecution, he's like, hold on, so why didn't you charge Jamal Bowman with 1512? Jamal Bowman, Fire Marshal Bowman, who pulled the fire alarm to obstruct to delay the proceeding, which was an actual proceeding, not a ceremonial vote, which January 6th was, which is not a real proceeding at all. There's no evidence being presented. He interrupted an actual congressional hearing. Why aren't you charging him? And they're like, oh, well, we don't believe that his actions rose to the level of being charged. But Neil Gorsuch is like, but it's the same logic. And they were just ridiculous, like stupid answers. So they fell apart when I had to actually explain this logic to neutral judges. And I think all that's the thing too, is like there's this idea like all these judges and prosecutors have the same education. They're all like Ivy League, Harvard. Like none of them are. The Supreme Court justices don't have a magical, like smarter education than the prosecutors. The prosecutors knew when they charged these charges that they were false, 100%. So that's where the liability comes in with the lawsuits that we're working on now. That's like the main thing that the J6 community has been working on is these lawsuits. And one of the lawyers that's actually involved, if you guys remember, Mark McCloskey. With his wife, when Antifa invaded their neighborhood and they came out with the gun and the pistol,
yes.
and they were demonized.
Yeah, I remember.
So that guy is a really good lawyer, and now he's working to represent J6ers to sue the government. We're not going to actually probably end up suing, obviously, because Trump's DOJ. They're going to be friendly with us, but we're going to make sure things are made right. Like.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Just about the January 6th, that day, you were saying about the people who were trying to break in, people who are in black and gray. How do you know for sure that they were Antifa?
So one example, for example, John Sullivan. John Sullivan self-admittedly is Antifa. He's the head of an organization called Insurrection USA. I don't know how many members there are, but that's a funny name to call it before J6. But and his dad is allegedly a Fed. And it's really weird because he's a liberal activist, and then his brother is supposedly a conservative activist, and their dad is allegedly a Fed. It's an interesting story. But yeah, he said, we want to rip Donald Trump out of the White House. He gave a speech famously on video saying that. He said he's on video saying that I was dressed as a Trump supporter to blend in. So, and then you have John Barry, who I mentioned. If you go look up his podcast called the Lost Boys Podcast, I think, or Twin Boys or Twin Laws, or something like that. And he's clearly a liberal. And he made a video admitting, which is the whole point of why I'm bringing him up, that I was paid to protest and that it was a organized effort, but I can't say who it is, and I couldn't pull off the act, and which is true because I saw him get caught, the sledgehammer guy, and I walked up to him and they were holding him, and I said,
"That's the guy." Okay.
Yeah, and so, and then we have all kinds of shady characters that have never been arrested. Red on Red, for example. So he's right where Ashley Babbitt gets shot, where John Sullivan's actually taking that video, by the way. He's the one who recorded the video of her getting shot, and he's Antifa. Next to him is Zach Alam, who a lot of the J6ers believe is Antifa. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he's like a MK Ultra victim or something because he has like a 1,000-yard stare and says really weird stuff. But and then we have Taylor Toronto, who he replayed videos of Ashley Babbitt being murdered in front of Mickey, who was protesting in front of the DC jail at the vigil. That guy's Antifa. He ended up in the J6 pod somehow. That was, I don't know. So that was a whole issue there. And then there was one other famous, well, yeah, Red on Red. So Red on Red, he was there with when Ashley Babbitt was shot, saying all kinds of weird stuff too in the room. And then he breaks a window with a 2x4. And then right after him, Dominic Pizzola, who's a real patriot, Proud Boy, finishes off that window. But the guy who initially broke that window is this Red on Red guy who's never been found, never been identified, just disappeared, ghost. One of my co-defendants, who initially, when I was charged, his name was redacted in my charging document, which I don't even know how that's possible. I don't think that's legal. I don't think you can charge someone and not name their co-conspirators to them. That seems insane. Like, we're charging you with you conspired with someone, but we're not going to tell you who it is. That seems like you're not telling me what the charges against me fully are, which is therefore another Sixth Amendment violation. But anyway, this guy, he gave us a fake name. He told us his name was Jeff, and he was an activist that we met here in California at the CNN building protest. And later at the trial, it turns out his name is Paul Bolosic. And the police can't find him. He was one of the more violent people that day. He stole officer's mask supposedly, and used a stick to hit people and stole pepper spray. And
Well, yeah.
so a real like instigator character, and he was wearing gray too. He wasn't even wearing MAGA gear. But we thought we knew him from L.A., so we gave him a ride home, a ride back, and we were charged together with the conspiracy. And this guy's never been found. Just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Wow.
The
How convenient.
Yeah, the leftists on Twitter, they call him Swedish Scarf. That's his nickname.
We actually have a comment from, I think, Instagram. They're asking, did you ever see the military group inside one of the main stairways to the left of the Congress offices?
I think I know what they're talking about. If you look at the footage from the inside, you will see all kinds of weird stuff. Okay, you'll see. I think there's one of an officer coming to the other officers in plain clothes, like in MAGA gear, saying, "Hey, I'm dressed in Trump gear. Like, chill out. I'm one of you guys. And then showing him his badge, and you see him like that in the whole interaction on camera, and then like like weird ways of, like when the crowd was up against the building that enters where the Congress people sit. The police were like blocking them from entering it, a big crowd of people. And if you watch the interaction, the way the police will target certain people in the crowd to talk to try to control the crowd, like middlemen, is really weird. Like they seem like they know them already.
Okay.
Like people that they know that are in the crowd,
Right.
So there's weird stuff like that in that footage. But me personally, I was on the Lower West Terrace. So when that window I entered was actually, I think, a press office technically. And then so there wasn't much going on in there. It was a small room getting broken up by these people. And then when I went to the exit in the hallway, and I put my ear on the door to see if we could exit out of there. I could hear like commotion inside, and we had just heard that Ashley Babbitt had been shot. A woman had been shot. So I started to think, well, if I open this door, this leads further into the Capitol. It's not an exit. If I open this door, I'll probably get shot too. So we're like trapped because we're like, we can't go through this door to leave. We have to go out into this gas basically. So yeah, I didn't see that military team, but I've seen the. Yeah, I do encourage everyone to watch the footage of the inside because you're going to see a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, and it's just your story is so powerful. I want to make sure that we get all of it, so make sure to adjust your mic like kind of directly down. Yeah, you can twist it too a little bit. No, that's fine. But I bet if we were to turn on Rachel Maddow right now, she would be talking about some criminal activity, some ridiculous story about Donald Trump and how he's such a criminal and all this stuff. So
no due process for cartel gang members. That all they're talking about now is that one case that this guy didn't receive some like technical little hearing that's like a 10-minute formality. It's not even a real, like, it wouldn't change the outcome of him being deported or not. And they're making it like as if this Trump went and like stole an innocent child out of the mother's arms and threw it into the Grand Canyon or something.
Oh my god!
It's like, dude, this guy's MS-13.
Yeah,
which he did receive due process because that's how it was determined. All this stuff about him. Okay, he had 2 hearings. Most people on the deportation list aren't even found, let alone are that far along in the process. So he did have due process, and he got a deportation order. What's the big deal? But
yeah, it's facts.
Oh, there's a clerical error. We're going to turn it into Trump is
this week's news
killing babies. Yeah.
Which, I mean, tell me about the role of media and the role of media. Obviously modernly, but also looking back a few years into J6.
Really, they're like, there's this like collapsing balloon kind of or blob of their
non-substantial blob
agenda, the liberal agenda worldview,
non-fruitful,
and they keep
blob.
they keep trying to pump hot air into it because that's all they have is hot air, and it just inflates a little bit and then boom deflates and they just they can't get any momentum because everything they say is a lie.
Yeah.
So it has like this short-term emotional effect on the listener. Sometimes like people are like Trump haters, they'll be like, oh, rah, yeah, rah. But then a month later, it's completely different. Like everything changes. And just because it's anti-Trump, doesn't matter what the issue is. Just whatever is the anti-Trump position, they'll take it. Even though it was the opposite of a month ago. Yeah,
exactly. And what role did that play in just how you got affected?
Oh yeah. That the main negative effect was the reputational thing that really just the Google search of, people Google your name, they're going to find the 3 FBI press releases, which I don't think I've ever seen that for any criminal, like announcing the arrest, announcing the charges filed,
making an example,
and then announcing the sentencing. All 3 times. Oh, sorry. All 3. Yeah, all 3 times they created a whole new separate press release, which goes right on the front of Google. Like they have the best SEO or whatever somehow, and so it's just like California man arrested, California man charged, California, and then obviously the NBC article. So, and it's full of lies, and so even the FBI press release is full of lies. That's defamatory. I was not guilty of 1512 obstruction. I was falsely accused. So it's all defamatory. That stuff, really, the media stuff is the worst. For me personally, like, I don't mind it because the way I approach it is like, well, you're just going to give me a bigger platform then if you keep
writing articles about me. Yeah.
So, but for a lot of people, it's not like that. They like to be private individuals.
Yeah.
And
not to be put on blast like that.
Yeah, and has destroyed thousands of people's lives at this point.
Right. Yeah, it's so true too, and you explained it. Like it's a hot air blob.
Yeah.
And how is new technology affecting that blob?
This is what I was just talking about before the show started. Is that the assumption was, and it pertains to Gen Z. The assumption was that Gen Z was going to be like super like brainwashed, like it was going to be over. Like once the AI took over and the computer, like these kids were just going to be done. They're fully locked into the technocratic, globalist agenda.
This cross-eyed little weirdos.
Yeah, like Wall-E
yeah.
or Idiocracy or something like that. Yeah, the dystopian future was setting in, and so surprisingly, with like Gen Z turned out to be more conservative than the previous. Not like majority, like 80% or anything, but like the trend changed all of a sudden. Which is like crazy because you would, all the indicators was it was going to go the opposite direction, but then you guys come out and like you're like, no, we're not going to do what's expected of us or believe what's expected of us, and I guess maybe it was a blind spot for them because they became the sort of like nannies, the cringe sort of like annoying teacher that's trying to like shut you up and or not let you have freedom and like indoctrinate you and force you like their belief on you, and you don't get to speak, and you just have to believe what we say and repeat it, and you don't get to have it. Like that's their vibe now. So now they're not cool anymore. Yeah. So like kids in school are see all these leftist teachers as tyrants.
Yeah.
A lot of them do, and so it's kind of backfiring on them to once they got into these positions of power, they really don't know how to use it. They're squandering it, and in a crazy way. Like their whole thing is coming down, their whole regime because of this thing backfiring on them. We have independent media now that's doing better than the corporate media, and then obviously we're dominating the digital space completely. And
we have direct sources.
Yeah,
we have direct sources now. We just have people saying like this happened and I saw it, and on Twitter or something.
Right, you see the video, you see the document, you see you don't need some anchor explaining to you some propagandized version of it, and that they thought they could use it for control, and they did for a long time, and it was setting in. Like before Elon bought Twitter, we were almost at this point where the internet was starting to seem like very bleak, almost like free speech was dying on the whole internet, almost really. And then now it's coming back. And if the globalists can't stop this movement this time, I think they'll be done for. I think this one is going to be permanent because it's peaceful, and it's the way it's spreading through media, like you're saying, and through social media. It's like you can't. How are you going to stop that? There's so many people making money off of it too. Is like the financial incentive is there. They're making more money, if anything, than the liberal leftist go woke, go broke crowd. Mm-hmm. So how do you stop it?
Yeah.
You can't stop the movement. Now it's growing.
We're seeing it the same with like elitist Hollywood people who have been also behind this globalist movement. I mean, now you have like Google Gemini VO3 coming out, and it's like, whoa, everybody can make movies now. Like, I guess we're not relying on you anymore. Like,
Yeah.
Give you the bird. No, but
And we've been a lot better at leveraging AI, I think, like to make memes. We've always been better at making memes.
Because we get it.
Yeah, the
Yes.
left is they lost their sense of humor. That's it. They don't have edginess.
No, exactly. It's like I was talking to someone earlier today about the core curriculum, and when the core curriculum, critical thinking, came into public school systems, and it was supposed to teach critical thinking, but it was really they were just showing us how to think. They were showing, like, especially millennials, how to how to rely heavily on teachers, or just that
The power structure, the government.
yeah, for even your most like deepest wonders and thoughts. I mean, it was just like a simple, like,
Horrible.
It's like critical thinking. It's like, no, you're just removing God at this point. But I mean,
And removing their dreams,
Yeah.
and their passion and everything. There's the soul, they're ripping the soul out of them and replacing it with 10 points of
yeah,
Mao Zedong
like
or-
an A. Yeah. But so yeah, no, I mean, another thing too is with Biden. It's like now everybody's acknowledging that Biden has dementia more and more and more. It's like it's just a comedy routine. It's like, you guys are figuring this out now. I mean, didn't we all know about Jill's like obvious abuse and
That just goes to show how wrong, how obviously, undeniably, no way out of it wrong the leftist has to be to finally admit it.
Yeah.
Like, the guy has to be dying, decrepit on TV for him to finally be like, all right, we were wrong. But even then, it's like they don't try to improve and change themselves. It's like pulling teeth with trying to have a philosophical debate.
But how does it tie into the laptop?
The Hunter Biden laptop?
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, you mean the way Democrats treated it?
Yeah, I mean, just like,
That's this vote blue no matter who mentality that has killed their whole everything.
yeah.
Because people just say they're a Democrat, they say a couple of the right words, and no matter what everything else that they do is pass. But now it's like you do that, and now you guys are basically a party full of like criminals and pedophiles and abusers and insider trading and all. You've tolerated all this kind of stuff just to have ideological purity, but really you have no morality at all, actual morality.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of criminals pretending to be good people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like if someone who thinks that they're doing the right thing by being a Democrat, if they knew what was actually happening behind closed doors and in these locked data, situations, they would turn the other way. They would, maybe realize that they're not so anti-MAGA after all.
That's always the way my approach with liberals is like, I'd be like, okay, first of all, like, do you believe in freedom? Yeah, I believe in freedom. Okay, do you believe in people having the freedom to defend themselves? Yeah, of course. Or if they say, oh, well, I know where you're getting at. I still think there should be gun control, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, what if there was Nazis? Wouldn't you want a gun? And they'd be like, oh, and then you got
Maybe
get
for
him-
Nazis.
Yeah, get them to think about the principles of what do you believe, and then show them how you're actually a conservative libertarian type person. You're not a communist dude.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. That's the thing. They don't understand what Marxism, communism, socialism, what that is. They'll use those terms and then they'll act like they're sympathetic towards it, but they don't know what it is. Like, dude, you're not a communist. I'm telling you. If you went to real communist regimes, Mao Zedong, Stalin, Lenin, Pol Pot, you name them, Ho Chi Minh, Kim Il Sung, any communist, Ceausescu, the Kemal Ataturk, mass murder, you guys. All you culture, like the trans movement, LGBTQ people, the people that are like for like disabled people's rights, handicapped people, all these kinds of people that are whose marginalized communities coming together on the left, their coalition or whatever. Like half of them would just be like massacred under a communist regime. Meanwhile, they're saying, oh, they're wearing Che Guevara shirts, saying all cops are bastards, and then when J6 happens, a few months later, all of a sudden they're like laughing and rejoicing in MAGA grandmas and innocent women getting killed and shot and pepper sprayed and beaten at J6. All of a sudden, they take great joy in watching, you evil MAGA maggots getting beaten. Like, F you guys deserve to be rot in jail. You're terrorists. Not all Democrats say that. I won't accuse them all of that, but there's a lot of them that do say that. When it's like crazy, it's like, dude, I thought you were all cops are bastards. What happened? You should, as a smart Democrat that believes all cops are bastards, when J6 happened, should have been like, hey, see, we were right, guys. Aren't those cops bastards? Like, and they would try to win people over into their movement.
Yeah.
But instead, they go, we got the power now. Yeah, let's kill these Republicans. Like, that's actually their mentality. They don't have any principles
or humility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what liberals used to say in the 70s and the 60s about a neo-Nazi? They would say, oh, yeah, he's a neo-Nazi, and I disagree with him, obviously, but I would die for his right to say that. That's what liberals used to say about free speech, that even though I disagree with you 100%, I would die for your right to say that. Like, that they would fight for free speech, like, that was their ideology. What happened?
Now it's like, if you say that, you might as well have killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's your words that I don't like are violence, and I can justify killing you for your words instead of killing to defend free speech. Now they'll kill someone for using their free speech.
Exactly. It's La La Land, or not La La Land. It's Upside Down Land.
Yeah, inversion.
Alice in Wonderland.
Mm-hmm. That is one of their tactics, is inversion. That's not even like, it doesn't happen accidentally. They're doing that on purpose to flip things on their head.
Right. The liberals, or the globalists. Wait, really?
Well, the globalists, in order to invert the morality of society, try to go ultra left as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because it's going to cause people to think the up is down, left is right. Like, like war is good. Bush was evil, right, for being a warmonger, and Dick Cheney is Darth Vader. But now let's go kill Putin. Yeah. And we're gonna have Liz Cheney on our campaign.
Yeah, like segregation is bad, but white people are less than black people.
Yeah, segregation is bad, but we need to segregate now in favor of black people, because all those black people want to be segregated and treated better than all the white people, right? No, nobody wants, like, it's just these crazy things that they think of that don't fit in with reality. Like, the black people don't want that either. They don't want to be treated as like this thing that needs to be healed by these bleeding heart liberal saviors.
It's un-American.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like they treat them like pets.
Yes.
I have a question. So just kind of like switching topics real quick.
Yeah.
I want to know, what did your family and friends think about what happened on J6? Was their reaction, like, get away from me, or you're a disgrace, or wow, that's such an interesting thing?
For a Patriot hug.
Luckily for me, my family's all conservative, and Christian people, so like ideologically, they were supportive. We've always been, like, me and my uncle, we agree on a lot of stuff politically, and my mom, whatever, she voted for Bush, but a lot of J6ers did not have that look.
Right.
Okay, so like there was some people, their family turned them in, to the police. Wow. I think Guy Riffitt's son turned him in, and they're just like this, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And people, lost their families, and that can't be forgotten. People were killed.
Were your family at least a little suspicious? Like, well, did you do something bad? Did you break in?
Because there's a video.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a video of me defending the building, and everyone's like, "Why are they going after? Why aren't they like saying good job, Edward? Like, you did the right thing at least."
Well, do you think that
from their perspective?
Yeah, right. And do you think that maybe perhaps you should have just walked away from the scene and
you
avoided
kind of couldn't, because the way it escalated, it's just like, first of all, you're in, it's like a sardine can of people. Because once we arrived at the Lower West Terrace, the people, it was already very tightly packed, but now it started getting more concentrated because everyone's trying to go up the staircase. So, and then from the perspective of the lawn, looking up, there was a lot. You see like the edge of the line of police officers, but like they're just standing there. So you couldn't see any like scuffles or violence breaking out from when the approach to the Capitol. So I'm thinking, okay, we're just going to go up there and walk around the building, and then there's going to be some pathway, and then everyone's going to march, and the march is going to continue or whatever. You know?
So you thought it was a march.
Well, it was. We were marching from
Yeah.
the speech to the Capitol, and then in other marches that I've been at, it's always like, the police have a pathway.
Yeah.
And they guide the march down the safe path to make sure that everything's safe. This time there was none, and so when I got to the Capitol and I went up the stairs and I got to the top and I'm like, oh, there's nowhere for this crowd to go, because it was just like they were just standing up against the building, kind of, not even responding to anybody, just standing there like, and the crowd of people was just pushing up against the building, and really the only place to go is the tunnel to go into the building. So like theoretically the whole crowd would have to like go through that little skinny tunnel and filter through the building and go out the other side, like the way they had set up the pathway. So it was like set up for failure I think on purpose, to funnel everyone there like that, because it doesn't make sense. Like, to coordinate the crowd to go that way as the police force, you have to be on top of that. You have to make sure that pathway is safe, so they don't get stuck. So we're all stuck, and now I'm starting to hear chants of Antifa, and as these like fights are breaking out, and we're just protesting, so it's fine. And then all of a sudden it starts turning like weird, because I'm starting to think we've been infiltrated. And so my next thought process is like, I want to do something about it, but what do I do that's not like crazy? Like, am I going to go punch them? Because then they might. So all these thoughts are going through my head. I'm not thinking about walking away, because nothing until it was like the gas bombs went off, basically, where I felt like I had to leave. Like, we're going to get messed up here by the cops, like indiscriminately. And that's pretty much when I started the process of leaving.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was in a tough spot right there.
Because I felt some kind of responsibility, because I'm a trained activist, but I am from Leadership Institute. I felt, and all the other protests I've been at, I've kind of like leading or whatever in the Beverly Hills protest always. And so I felt a little bit of responsibility with the window breaker guys, like to try to stop them, because they're making us look like we're terrorists. Like, so I'm kind of consciously aware of the image of the protest at all times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, well, what does it mean to be a trained activist?
So if you go to Leadership Institute classes, they'll teach you how to do tabling, how to do sign-ups, how to do how to gather a group of let's say youth students, like if you're a college student, or people in your community if you're older, how to do voter registration. I just went to a lecture on voter registration workshop thing. So all the things, mechanics of politics, to learn how to do it, from the ground level, which is what we need. Well, actually, we have enough of that now. What we need is the top down a little bit, actually, but. Yeah, so that's what you would say is a trained activist, like someone who's learned about like
how to do everything like that. Yeah, be a leader in those things. Yeah.
A year in prison is so insane. It's just so unjust for this. What were you thinking about a lot of that time?
Well, I knew I was gonna beat it somehow, because I knew I was innocent. I was like, this is an injustice. They can railroad me in their little federal show trial court theater show that they have going there, theater production. But there's no way that the Supreme Court is just going to let this fly. Like, and I was thinking about my case and how to fight. Like, there's a lot of people that were despairing, and in general, people who go to prison despair a lot. But that's what they want you to do. They want you to be sad and miserable, and like that's that causes you more pain. That's the real pain, especially like these globalist people that did this to us. That's what they want to see us, like down in the ditch, like crying, miserable. So I never showed that. Like, I tried to be strong. I don't know. Actually, kind of like makes me happy that these people that are so evil are so scared of me. Like, that we struck fear into the heart of these tyrants a little bit. So I wasn't worried. And in the Bible, I read the Bible many times, obviously in prison, and the apostles rejoiced when they were imprisoned and persecuted, and because they were being persecuted for the righteousness. They're like, oh, these corrupt people are persecuting us. That means we did something right, because these people are obviously scum. And so, I tried to not be too sad and use it as fuel to fight even more. Like, basically, if they want to stop me, they're gonna have to kill me. Like, I'm not gonna be the one to give up and go quietly into the night.
How did other people in the prison deal with you, and did they find out that you were a J6er?
The vast majority of convicts are conservative. They're, first of all, they're religious. They're not big fans of trans or gay stuff, or pedophiles for that matter. So I had a lot of effect on talking to prisoners about getting them, because they're stuck in prison politics. Okay, so there's prison politics, and they some of them live by that, and it's really stupid.
Interesting.
It's like racial division, but petty. It's if they united their efforts, they could actually do something to improve the conditions of our justice system, which is horrible. It's like nightmare. It's like communist or worse. Actually, my cell was smaller than the cell in Russia, which is funny because I was watching Fox News in Lompoc, and these neocons are crying about Gershkovich, Evan Gershkovich in the Russian jail. I lived in Russia for 2 years, by the way. His conditions in the Russian jail. Oh, he's in this horrible prison. He's in a 12-foot by 9-foot cell. Kaylee McEnany was saying, and I'm like, 12-foot by 9-foot cell, and I measured my cell, and it's 6-foot by 9-foot. So literally, the Lompoc, low security, quote unquote, has half the size cell as a Russian prison, and twice, and there's 2 people in there. So he's alone in this big cell by himself. We have 2 people jammed. You have to have a cellmate in this tiny cell, smaller than this room. Literally half of this room is the cell, with 2 bunk beds right here, and then your cabinet, and then his cabinet right there, and then the toilet here, and then the sink here. So really, you have 2 1-foot spots that you can stand. Really, that you can't even move around. You can't walk past 2 people can't walk past each other inside. So our conditions in our prison system is worse than Russia right now.
Interesting.
And
to be there for protesting is just
yeah.
I mean, nonviolent protesting is just awful.
I was pleasantly surprised that the inmates were, the vast majority were, listening to and starting to like Trump. They were yeah, that's our boy. They're going at, they went after him. So no one's ever heard of someone getting 91 felonies. That's crazy. So stories like that are would make you popular in prison, to have a crazy rap
Trump
sheet.
It's just a G.
Right. Yeah. So his rap sheet is 91. You beat 91 charges.
Oh my gosh. And he's been raided. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's been raided. That's but a freaking he's Saddam Hussein.
Oh my gosh, he's such a G. I mean, it's just so you're locally involved in a lot of stuff right now.
Oh yeah,
and you're mentioning some stuff in Beverly Hills. So what is the main motivation behind these local things in LA?
Because California it's so frustrating because you talk to people here, you walk around, the majority of people are not these crazy liberals that California seems to be this super blue state in the political election results. But if you actually talk to people, they're not really crazy liberal like that. They're really more amicable to, family values, low taxes,
pro-business.
Yeah, pro-business, real estate, obviously in LA. So
anti-rat in the gutter.
Cleanliness, no homelessness. Yeah, so that's all stuff that should be slam dunk for the California GOP.
Exactly.
But they're the most annoying, frustrating group out of probably any of the state GOPs, even though our grassroots is really good in California, which other states don't have. But our state party doesn't take advantage of it, treats us like we don't matter, and if that wasn't the case, California would be a red state.
Do you think that's why people, the Trump organization isn't already helping California?
It probably looking from his team's perspective, looking at the California GOP is probably a daunting task because first of all, there's a lot of precincts. Okay, it's the most Republicans out of any state, like by number, is in California. So it's a huge number of people to manage, and then all these little embedded characters are neocons and rhinos in our GOP, and so it's probably hard for him to even approach like how do you change that. But he should maybe as his final kind of one of his things that he does going on his way out is to put some effort within the RNC, within the GOP to clean out some of these rhinos, because if MAGA was in control of the California GOP, we would win like every single election. It's crazy.
Do you think that the current California GOP is its own enemy, and it's the reason why California keeps on getting worse?
Those rhinos are the Democrats' most valuable asset. Like nothing they have has as much of an effect on the election as having these rhinos in the Republican Party. Like they make the biggest like chunk of difference out of anything. It's like that across the board. Like the Mitch McConnells and Kevin McCarthy was from here, and all those slime bags. They're just it's like trying to run a marathon with a ball and chain on your leg.
Right.
So true.
What are some of the things that you would like to see changed in the party leadership?
It's not necessarily an age thing, because the first thought is, well, you want younger people to be in, but it's not necessarily. You just want, because Trump is not young,
right?
But he's young at heart, and he's a person that, yeah, he sees himself as this rich guy that's like a little bit pompous or whatever, that brash. But really, he's kind of just like a dude that will just talk to you, So that kind of, but Mitch McConnell would never do that. So like Mitch McConnell is a kind of a millionaire, but he thinks he's above you more than Trump, who's an actual billionaire, would. So that mentality of the rich actually would be better if rich people dropped their ego a little bit and kind of like reached down and said, "Hey, we're gonna do something for America, for this movement." That would be more Trumps, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
So more of Trump and
but more Trumps, but more getting it all the way involved down into the grassroots level, like Soros does on the left.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking. Like, just go around the rhinos and just like help the grassroots efforts.
Yes,
like find
exactly
the top five
what Soros
and just like fuel them. Because I mean, California is like, it's what a state to save. Like that.
What are you currently looking for right now? Because the gubernatorial race is coming up, governor. What are you looking for in the next governor? What changes are you looking for him to bring? And is there any candidate so far?
Emphasis
it's
on
a little.
him. Sorry.
Yeah.
is there any candidate so far that stands out to you? I know it's pretty. I guess it's a year away, but yeah.
That's a tough one. No one seems to want to really step up. It seems like the people that should be, like, it really should be like, so maybe one of these actors that's in Hollywood that's coming out as conservative.
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. Yeah. Perfect example. Mel Gibson would be like Arnold, but actually based.
Another actor. We had President Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, exactly. From California. Arnold was kind of like a hilarious sideshow that it was like Terminator governor. It was weird.
Terminator governor.
Yeah, he was too much of a character. Like,
I just watched that movie for the first time this past week, so
that's funny. Get down. And no, he
California.
Yeah, he was like living the meme, so it was weird. But
Awesome.
Mel Gibson actually has like real thoughts and opinions and stuff. So, so
Mel Gibson is pissed.
yeah, and he's smart. He's funny. Off the cuff. So he would be really good. I think Mel would be incredible. Actually, I just don't know if he would run.
right.
You know, the best people usually don't run. That's the problem. The people that want power are the people that shouldn't be given power. That's what George
That's
Washington.
so true.
George Washington was so great because he didn't want to be president. They were like, "Dude, you're the best. We're going to be president. We're electing you. Like, there's nothing you can do about it." Like, I don't want about the power, and so he ended up being a really good president. That's how it's supposed to be. Trump was kind of like that too.
Yeah.
If you listen to Trump's like interviews throughout his life, people have been telling him to run for.
I would never be a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were telling him to run for president for like 30 years, and he's like, no, and finally he's like, all right.
He's like,
But no one else is gonna.
like, wow,
no
you
one
guys
else.
really jacked up this country. Good.
You've got the meme. Somebody had to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and we're shooting just so
You
many.
stepped up.
Yeah, well, we're getting up to an hour right now. I have a question for you. This is a random question, okay? But what is your favorite book that you would recommend to the audience?
1984.
Oh, 1984. Perfect. George Orwell. Really good book.
I like how that took like 2 seconds to
I know, that was very
less
quick.
than 2 seconds, like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah, that's
Awesome. What's your how old are you?
mandatory.
How old are you?
30.
So what is your like main advice to Gen Z men first and then Gen Z women?
Gen Z men. Oh man. First of all, work out because so many things like center around physical fitness. It's like mental health and all the healths. You know, whatever kind of health you want to say. The start of it is exercise, and not just exercise, but learn how to fight and learn how to survive. So all the things that you would actually fulfill you as a man. So you have your passions too. You can be a coder and know how to start a fire. Like you don't have to, and know how to skin a fish and catch a fish and cook it and eat it. Like you can be both, and you'll be better as a better person if you're both. And for women, I'm not a woman, so I'm not really sure. Like I haven't made the wrong decisions in life as a woman to know what the right decisions are, you know. But from a guy's perspective, I would say, you know, try to be supportive of us. And understanding, and because really that's what we want more than like physical attraction. Like we might be weak for physical attraction at the moment, but like over the long run, what we really value is like loyalty and love and kindness and sweet interaction that we all actually cherish. I think more than sex, because the sex is great, and then you break up, and then now it's like bad. It's a bad kind of tainted memory, but the things you learn from a good relationship, like they stick with you as like good lessons. So and it's more positive. So yeah, try to love each other's minds and hearts more than your bodies.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's really good advice.
They needed to hear that.
Did you have any social media that you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, it's at the Politicast on X, but the thing is shadow banned. So if you actually search the thing, it's shadow banned for some reason. But so you just search my name and it pops up, which is not the username, but it pops up with the display name, but not the username. It's really weird. There's Edward Badalian. Yeah, if you type that in, it'll pop up. It's me. It's a picture of me disarming the guy. Yeah.
Nice.
Perfect. Okay.
That's awesome.
And then just so we started a podcast out of the jail, out of the DC jail. It's called the We Are Good Men DC Gulag podcast. It's on Rumble.
Wait, how did you do that? You mean like?
So some guys who were still on trial had to have laptops that had the evidence on it for them to fight their case.
I see. Okay.
And those cameras, the laptop had cameras that they had not disabled, I guess. So one of the cool COs, got permission from him, and we recorded in the TV room. We set up like a little table like this.
Wow.
Yeah, and we extended the headphone with the microphone on it. It's like from the laptop to be like a microphone kind of to the table.
Wow.
And we put Trump's mugshot right there. Oh, and we had an American flag that was made from a sheet and like Skittle coloring, like a giant American flag.
That's
yeah.
so cool.
No.
That's awesome. So people can watch this on Rumble.
Yeah.
And what is it called?
The DC Gulag podcast. The channel is called We Are Good Men. Yeah. And last thing, so I do another show called Agent X11 every Friday. It's on the David Zublik channel on Rumble. You guys can check that out too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and coming on.
Yes, absolutely.
It's definitely very much appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you.
So much.
I can if you guys want to come on whenever you guys
We'd
want.
love to have you back. Absolutely.
I still had a few more questions to ask you, so we'll
Oh, yeah.
definitely save those for next time.
Yeah.
If you'd like to come back.
Be amazing.
Yeah. Did you have anything else?
No, just if you, yeah. Oh.
Okay, well, make sure to check out our social media page because we do have a Buy Me a Coffee there, which you can be able to help us buy us boba there. We also have we're going to YWLS, so that's with TPUSA.
Young Women's Leadership Summit.
Oh, wow.
And that is
There you go.
happening next month. So if you also would like to support us, you could also support us through Buy Me a Coffee through there. It'll be so much appreciated. We are so happy to be going out there. It'll be media for us again. Yay!
Yes, media booth.
Yes. Okay, so make sure if
Miss Chloe Cole.
yes, if you are going, please check us out. It'll be lovely to meet you. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure to check us out next week again. And all of our social media is at 180 Shift, as well as our website at 180shift.org.
Yes, God bless. Have a great week.
Take care.
Yeah.